So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. So some of you are sitting there with your feet on the ground. So you just want to also have your back supported and just be as comfortable as you can. Some of you might be sitting in a cross-legged position. And so what I would suggest, if you are very flexible and if you are very tight, either one of those two, maybe just support under your knees with a couple of cushions or something, just so you're not sort of putting any strain on the hips and the area and the pelvis. Because as we get older, it gets a little bit more difficult. So for those of you with the feet down, flat on the floor, really try and feel the soles of the feet in the ground. And just the surface of the foot, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and all your little toe pads. And imagine your shoulders are aligned with your hips, your ears align with your shoulders, and imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And take a nice deep breath. Just relax. And your hands can be anywhere that's comfortable for you. You could have just resting your lap. The traditional way to have your hands in in our particular tradition, the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, is the right hand is nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. But, you can, if that's not super available to you, you can have your hands just resting on your thighs or, just wherever is comfortable for the purposes of this meditation. And just bring your attention to the crown of the head and relax your scalp. And just release any tension there. Maybe you can feel some sensation on the crown of the head. Relax the forehead and the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth. Relax the jaw, the back of the head, and the back of the neck. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades just to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And then just bring your attention to the breath. Notice the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. It's a little bit cooler as you inhale, a little bit warmer as you exhale. Then be aware of any sounds in your environment. Just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And particularly those of you who have pets at home. It's a whole new experience we have doing all these meditations and practices on Zoom. And, for some of you particularly have mentioned the minute you sit down and get on Zoom, the cat wants to interact. So just allow them to be there doing their own thing. They may receive some benefit. And then notice what's going on in the mind. What thoughts are arising. So you can make it simple for yourself by just saying, I'm thinking. Or I'm planning, or I'm ruminating. So just allow the thoughts to arise and abide, and then you can just allow them to, just float away. Because you might notice that if you don't particularly engage or follow the story that's going on in the mind, it just kind of dissipates. So now just bring to mind all the people of our life, your loved ones. These are people you're really, really close to, whether they may not be with us still anymore. These people are, people that you really love. You can look at their face. And, these are people who, we smile when we see their text come through or email. And then there's people in your life you don't like at all. We tend to want to push those ones away. And then we have our strangers. We don't seem to care much about them. That's not that we don't care. It's that we don't think about them much. If they were broke, we wouldn't probably think about giving them some money or taking care of them. We'd think that's someone else's job. We take care of our loved ones. But this person who you like, this person who you don't like, and this person you don't even care about, they can all change place at any time, these relationships. And despite that, they're all equal in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering and having this really extraordinary capacity for this enlightened mind. Everybody has that. So just think, with this Vajrasattva practice, this is a purification practice of Vajrasattva in the context of the 4 opponent powers. So you think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this practice is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind. So equally, we can change it by creating positivity instead. So the first of the 4 opponent powers is regret. So regret is not like guilt. Guilt is like, oh, God did this really bad thing and I'm a bad person. Regret is more about, oh, okay, so I really feel sorry I've done this thing, but I can do something about it. I do have the power to do that. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you may have done to harm any living being on this day or in this life or in all our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we don't want any more of that. We know from our present suffering, we really don't want any more. So we think like this. Logically, it makes sense to remove these karmic seeds, like we would weeds, before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I don't want any more suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And we just regret our delusions, our attachment and anger and all the rest, which are, really what the starting point of why we harm others. So what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. And we've got 2 little sections here. One is refuge and one is compassion. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor who has the methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying on his medicine, his methods. So you can imagine this Buddha Vajrasattva on the crown of your head. Now, if you have a teacher, doesn't matter which tradition, just imagine this is the mind of that teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. So if all this kind of detail and brightness is too much for your mind, you can just imagine this beautiful, compassionate, warm light above the crown of your head. And so he's sitting, so for those of you who are visualizing detail, he's sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, has a beautiful radiant face and long eyes shaped like lotus petals. And he's just full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. So we just do a little refuge prayer to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, so this is a little section on developing compassion, we need to rely upon other beings and the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us by developing compassion for them. So think of someone you may have harmed recently and then in the past. And maybe then in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And now You could bring to mind some people may have harmed you. And just have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime down the track. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose or a waterfall, shower even, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of all of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And it pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Tita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So then be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and just think there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with this body of yours. And now the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying and inappropriate speech, talking about others behind their backs, getting other people, to agree with you. Just imagine all of this speech karma is completely purified by this powerful nectar filling you. And recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta me boa, sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajrama me mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. And vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, vajrasapa dina patita, dina me boa, situkaya me boa, sipokaya me boa, Anarakta me boa, sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe. And vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dita me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe. And vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe. So now feel so happy that your speech is completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and, enters your crown and fills your entire being. So, you imagine, when you walk into a room and it's pitch black and you flick on the switch and the light instantly comes. So imagine like this, the moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, just imagine all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment and neediness, bitterness and grudges and jealousy, all this, ill will towards others, all of this instantly purified, dispelled by this mantra. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe And Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Hey. So be delighted that all your delusions, and these are the heart, the source of all of our own suffering and why we harm others with our body and our speech. And imagine this is all completely purified, it's gone. And now think that there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body and the speech and the mind. So imagine Vajrasattva sending light and nectar, and it fills you completely and just eradicates even the very subtle imprints of negative energy as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum. Okay. So now feel completely purified and just imagine there's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve. And this is where the fourth and final step, and it's a really crucial step, just, making a decision to do anything. And we're not going to go anywhere or do anything unless we decide. So just imagine. You decide, I don't want to harm. I want to refrain from harming. So you just make this determination to yourself, and it becomes like an aspiration, and it just becomes like guardrails for you, for your morality. And so you can think of something you'd like to work on, for a day or half a day or even 5 minutes or 5 seconds. And this does include, negative self-talk, self-doubt. I'm not good enough. I didn't do enough. So I think Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind. And he melts into light and just absorbs into you through your crown. And just think my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And so next week, just think a little bit about this idea of emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So this is how Rinpoche would talk. And then you just place your mind in that space for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. So all the things around you don't exist from their own side. And you can also think, very often the way we think things are not exactly at all the way they exist. So let's just dedicate all this merit, all this positive energy we've created doing this practice this evening to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So here we have our 3 little verses from chanting the names of Manjushri for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's unmistaken reincarnation. The blazing energy of all the Buddhas, with bodies fully shared by all the Buddhas, the highest union formed with all the Buddhas, the single teaching taught by all the Buddhas, most glorious with Vajraratna's blessing, the highest sovereign lord of Savaratna, the king supreme of Savalokasvara, the Lord on high, Sava Vajradhara, the quintessential mind of Sava Buddha, residing in the mind of every Buddha, the greatest body born by every Buddha, the lovely speech enriching every Buddha. So make a strong wish for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, for him to sort of stay long and be able to teach, then the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and then for all of your own individual teachers. So may they all live long. Okay, everybody, lots of love. So tomorrow morning, what do you want to do? Ginny, we do a 6:30 morning meditation if you're up. And I know a lot of people on the West Coast do like that. If you're up and you'd like to come, very welcome. So anybody, what would you like to do?